Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So in this video, we're going to do velocity banking without a personal or home equity line of credit. So as you can see here, we have a person who has 3 credit cards, and we're just going to deal with credit cards only, right? But here's my belief when it comes to doing all of this debt management and velocity banking. You should get as much tools as you can from the bank. So there's no reason that if you ever have credit cards that you can't get a personal line of credit. The only secret or trick is you need to get it before you ever need it, right? Because what do I say in almost every single video? Banks don't lend money to people who need it, right? But let's say we have a 3 credit cards and we're trying to do velocity banking. Now, I gotta say, like, without a line of credit, an actual like personal home equity line of credit, we're gonna have to adjust because the whole point of velocity banking is just to put your money into one place to maximize your cash flow, and it's much harder to do that with just only credit cards because you cannot use a credit card to pay every single expense that you have, right? So if I have one credit card here, I can't use it to pay credit card 2, credit card 3. If I have any loans, I can't usually pay that with a credit card unless I use like Plastique or something like that. So we just have to be aware that don't ever think like, hey, just because I have credit cards, I can't ever get a personal line of credit. But for some reason, a lot of people think that, right? And that's because I think a lot of people are not familiar with personal lines of credits because they're not as heavily marketed to the general public compared to credit cards. But if you were like a handyman or a general contractor, you wouldn't say, well, I can only use one type of tool to do the job, right? You get as many tools as you can if you're good at what you do and you're professional, and if you're paying off debt and you're good at it, you want to use as many tools as possible. All right. So let's do a quick review of velocity banking. So what is velocity banking? All it is a debt management, debt or cash flow management strategy to pay off debts quickly using something called a line of credit. And what is a line of credit? All it is a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay back, and then use it over and over again. That's all a line of credit is. And so a credit card fits into that category, but a credit card has its disadvantages. Like I said, you can't use it to pay everything. So when we're dealing with credit cards, this is what I would do, right? I would actually, this is the only time I'm going to break my no savings rule, right? So usually I say, oh my goodness, like we're going to be we're going to have rules where it's like you can never have savings. But the reason why you have to have savings in your, or checking or savings, is that you can't pay all your expenses with the credit card, right? And so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to focus on one credit card at a time, right? One credit card at a time. And then once one credit card is paid off, switch to the next one, and then switch to the next one, and so on and so forth, right? So let's go ahead and do this. So what I'm going to do here is write the income that goes into the line of credit, right? And then here we're going to track our expenses. What to say? We'll call it line of credit expenses. So we're going to track this a little bit differently, just to kind of make it easier to understand how this would all work. And then we'll just call it line of credit cash flow, and then whatever doesn't go to our line of credit, it's going to go here. So let's just go ahead, and now we have to select which one of our credit cards is going to be our main velocity banking account. And you can make an argument to use this one because it has the lowest balance and the highest interest rate, or you could use this one because it has the highest payment, right? I'm going to use this one for today's demonstration. I probably have to do some more deeper comparisons, but because I'm late and I'm kind of sleepy, I can't, and I'm recording right now. I can't figure out off the top of my head whether I should use this one or this one as my main velocity banking account. All right, so now let's just say we're going to use this as our main velocity banking account. Okay, so the interest rate, we just copy all this information here, 27%. The limit is 10 grand, right? And what's our current balance right now? It's actually, no, that's actually not the limit. We'll just say the limit is maybe like 12 grand, right? And the current balance right now is 10 grand, okay? So now let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to copy most of this. And I'm sorry, folks, but this is the only time we're going to have savings, right? Like, I always preach no savings, no savings, but I think this is only possible when you have a personal home equity line of credit, or maybe I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. Right? So, how much are we going to put in our savings? So, in order to know how much we're going to put in our savings, we have to sum up what we can't, we can only pay in cash. So, with credit card one and credit card two, these are the things we can only pay in cash, and we have to put them in savings, right? So that's C8 plus C9, right? And so we need $450 in savings. Now, here's the thing with credit cards, the payment goes down every single month, right? So it's not going to be a static 449. It's going to go down little by little by little. But for our purposes, let's just make it simple. Let's say it's an easy 449. Okay. So now, whatever we're using as our Velocity Banking account right here, remember, entire paycheck goes into a line of credit, or entire paycheck except this goes into our line of credit. So that satisfies a minimum monthly payment. So this goes to zero. Okay. So now what we have to do is we just have to sum this up. So this is going to be $2,700. Okay. And so what's the income that goes into our line of credit? Well, basically it's the 4,500 minus whatever we have to pull out of our savings, right? Hopefully that makes sense. But 4,500 minus 449.17. Again, it's not as easy as if we had a personal line of credit, but it's very similar. So we're going to put that entire $4,000 into that credit card, the $2,700 in our expenses, and we can even pay our rent with it, right? Like people complain, oh my goodness, what planet do you live on where you can pay rent with credit cards? And then I'll just say, hey, you know what? There's always new products in the marketplace, kind of like the Built Mastercard, where you can actually pay rent with no fees on a credit card, right? Rent with no fees. So people have to explore their options, and sometimes they just act like whatever I'm saying is impossible, as if I've never done any research. All right. So what's our line of credit cash flow? It's this minus this, and to be honest, it brings me shame to make this video because I always love to like brag about how we're gonna have zero savings, but and this is why we need a personal line of credit so we can join that zero savings club. But in this video, we're going to have 450. So our line of credit cash flow is this minus this, right? So it's going to be C2 minus C3. And that's how much our balance is going to go down every single month. Okay. So let's go ahead and calculate this. So I2 plus 1. And then the next month's balance is the previous month's balance plus the previous month's interest minus our line of credit cash flow, which is 1350.83, right? And then now what we do is calculate the interest with the average daily balance, multiply that by, 27%, and then divide it by 12, right? So let's go ahead and see how long it takes to pay the sucker off, which is about 9 months, right? So 9 months. So at this point, at the 8 or 9 month mark, right? 8 or 9 month mark. So definitely would be paid off. I'd probably say at the 8 month mark because look, $92. We could probably focus on another credit card. But we'll just, I don't know. We'll just do this. And I never, I need to figure out all the little nuances of sometimes it's like, I think I paid it off on this month just because there's so little balance. And then, but technically it's paid off here. So now let's go ahead and do this. So we've completely paid this off. Now what we have to do is figure out, okay, are we going to pay this one or this one? Now, after about 9 months, the balances will have considerably changed, and so will this number, right? So this is why these types of calculations are actually quite hard. But let's just go to the credit card calculator. So I'm just going to do here $6,000 at 30%, 30%, and then after how many months? This was 9 months, so we paid off 9 months. We paid off 10K. Okay. All right. So we definitely did that. And 10, 0, 0, 0, 0. I'm going to calculate that. And then we're going to go show the payment schedule. And then after 9 months, oh, not 10K, it's 6K, my bad. 6, 0, 0, 0. And then after 10 payments, or I'm sorry, after 9 payments, where are we? We're about 5,000, right? So this didn't go down that much. $600, that's a respectable number. So let's go back here and put 7,000 at 29% interest. All right, so now let's go to month 9, which is going to be 63492.62. All right. Okay, so now, again, these numbers will probably have gone down. Let's focus on paying off this one. So the 634994.62. Let's just figure out what the actual payment is here, because like I said, with a credit card, the payment always goes down little by little. So as you can see, this is 220.69. See, 220.69. Okay, so now this is what we're going to do now. We're going to make this into our main Velocity banking account, and we'll just say it has like a $7,000 limit. Well, we'll just write the limit right here, or we can just start over again, right? It doesn't really matter. Maybe we'll just erase this and start. Should we start over again? This is always a little bit hard because we're not actually transferring debt. We're just going from one credit card to another. Yeah, whatever. I'll just erase this. Again, I'm kind of doing this on the fly because, again, I always assume that I have every line of credit available to me. And in my personal situation, I have a $15,000 personal line of credit and a $50,000 home equity line of credit. And by the end of the year, if I probably refinance, I probably get like 150 at least. I don't know. All right. So let's go ahead and do this 30% interest rate. 30% interest rate at $6,000 available limit. Okay, so $6,000 oh no, not $6,000. We'll just say 7,500. I didn't even write the limits because it doesn't really matter anyways. But we'll put 5481.1 as the balance. 5481.1. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is, because we're making this as our main Velocity banking account, this goes to zero because we're putting our entire paycheck into that line of credit, right? So as you can see here, our line of credit, right? The cash flow is now 1350. Okay, 1350. So what was it before? Actually, did I screw up? Hold on. This is zero, right? This goes down. Oh, you know what? It's because our line of credit I made fixed. Expenses I made. No, this is actually right. So what am I saying? So, okay. So this is going to increase because it's 4,500 minus 220.69, right? So, yeah, okay. So now our line of credit cash flow is 1,500. I made a mistake because I didn't use variables because I was manually typing it in. But our line of credit cash flow is about 1,500. And now what we do is subtract 1,500 from our balance and see how long that takes, right? So it's I2 plus 1, and then G2 plus H2 minus our new line of credit cash flow. So again, we're going to have a little bit of savings to pay this credit card 2 right here, right? So we're going to use this as our main Velocity banking account. And let's go ahead and do it. Let's do this. Oh my goodness. Okay. So now what's our cash flow? Our cash flow is going to be 1579.31. Okay. And then what is our interest? Our interest is going to be based on the average daily balance, multiply by 0.3, divide 30%, which divide by 12. And then let's see how long it takes us to pay this off. Oh my goodness, 4 months, right? So let's go ahead and highlight that. And so now this one is essentially 13 months and so it'd be 16K, right? So 16K, and now we got to figure out 13 months. What's the balance of credit card 2? Okay, so what's the balance of credit card 2 at 16 months? And let's take a look at this. So 16 months, what is credit card 2? So it's this one. Yeah, so 16 months, it's going to be 5960, right? And again, this is not accurate, or the way I'm doing is not accurate because you're supposed to update every single payment after every single month, which I'm honestly too lazy to do. But we'll see. What did I do here? Whoopsie. Oh no, it's New Balance. I'm going way too fast. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do the same thing over and over again. But the only difference between the credit cards is just you have to switch your line of credit one credit card at a time. You know what I'm saying? So let's go here, 29,000, or sorry, 29%. I guess this could be a 77,000 or $8,000 limit, and honestly, it doesn't even matter at this point. But let's just say 7,000, and then 5960.2. So 5960.2. Okay, month 0. And now, because we're making this our velocity banking account, bam, right? 0. And what we're going to do, so now we enjoy the full power of our $4,500 income that goes into a line of credit because we don't have any savings, right? So now our cash flow is 1,800, and let's go ahead and do this again. Same formulas again. So previous month's balance plus previous month's interest minus our cash flow, which is 1,800. 1,800. Okay, and now let's go ahead and take the average of these two, average daily balance, multiply by 0.29, and then divide by 12. Okay, and then we just do it over and over again. And oh, well, look at here, 4 months. Oh my goodness. And that is how we became debt free. So 4 more months, that's going to be 17 months. So 16 plus 7 is 23K. And yeah, let's go ahead and highlight that. And we're pretty much debt free after 17 months. Oh my goodness. Well, that was pretty easy, right? But that's how essentially velocity banking without a personal home equity line of credit would work. Now, after I paid off maybe 2 of these credit cards, I probably would just get a personal line of credit then. Because here's the thing, you might say, hey, I don't actually need it. But guess what? Banks don't lend money to people who actually need it. And that's the best time to get it. You see what I'm saying? All right. Well, this is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And this is how I would do velocity banking without a personal home equity line of credit. Well, good night, everybody, and I'll speak to you next time.